I had to make this video, even though I'm a Hawks fan, because my team isn't much better, but or better at all, really. What were the Clippers thinking trading Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, dude? I just don't get it. And the only reason I say this is because I thought it was a bad idea at the time. To me, it sounded like it had all the makings of a bad idea when I first heard about it, even before he blew up. Because the way they were describing him, I was like, why would you trade this player? To me, trading Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is like trading Kobe. He's basically a player that's going to guarantee you championships just because of his mentality and overall leadership. I just don't understand. I just don't understand what the Clippers were thinking. To me, this is one of the most baffling trades ever in basketball. I honestly, off the top of my mind, can't think of a more baffling one. And it doesn't get talked about enough. Like, it really doesn't. And we'll consider the devil's advocate. Well, you get Kawhi. All right. Kawhi, to me, is unreliable. And he was unreliable before he got to the Clippers. To me. That's what I get from Kawhi. He's a great player that's unreliable. They took a gamble, but they got rid of, like, a generational asset to do that. And the Clippers could have a championship right now if they just would have been more patient. If they just would have been more patient. But I just had to make a video about this because let me know in the comments section what you guys think, because I feel like everyone is just so quick to dismiss, like, oh, well, they got Kawhi and they got Paul George. I'm like, no. You don't trade a generational young player, like, with, I feel like, no flaws as a player. Like, even Luka, you could argue, okay, he has issues staying in shape and defending. Okay. I don't think that was a good trade either, but that one's more understandable than this one because I feel like Shai Gilgeous, I have more faith in Shai Gilgeous than I do Luka. Luka has too many questions marks. When's the last time you ever heard anybody say anything about Shai that was negative as a player? When's the last time? We talk about Luka, you don't know what's going on. Oh, he's a talented player, but ... He's like Jokic. Shai is on the level of Jokic to me in terms of just leadership and just clutch. Like, what is there not to like about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander? And I'm not a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander fan. I don't even like OKC. I can't stand OKC. I hate watching them. I think they're boring, quite frankly. But in my heart, as much as I want to hate on Shai, I can't hate on him as a player because he's a guy that's mastered his game at a young age. And to me, he reminds me a little bit of Kobe. He's like a more boring version of Kobe is what he looks like to me. He's chill, but you can just tell he just leads this team. He's almost like Jalen Hurts in a way. Like, you know, like maybe not the most exciting player, but just kind of like he just gets wins after wins, big games, clutch. I had to flame the Clippers. Dude, the Clippers are so stupid, bro. And the Hawks drafted Trey over Luka. We're not the smartest franchise ever, dude. It doesn't. Some things don't make sense. Although, like, at this point, I don't think Luka's that much better than Trey. But you know, that's another debate for another time. Again, I watch this team. This team is Shai, dude. Without Shai, dude, this is a bottom of this is like a mid-league team. No, dude. Shai is. I don't think he gets enough credit for being a completely dominant player. I think he's and one thing that gets overlooked in sports, and I say this a lot with Jalen Hurts, is, dude, leadership in between the games. That's a big part. And I know from playing, like last night after I play in men's league, but last night after the game, I was giving a speech about how we got to get better and how we need to improve individually. Like, those things are important. Like the time you spend in between games are important. Those moments in between on the flight, how you address your team, how you lead. I feel like sports leadership in sports is critical, almost more than anything, any other business or anything. Business leadership is obviously super important, but in sports, I'm telling you, leadership is such an overlooked factor, and I can just tell when certain players have it, because certain players are talented but not great leaders, like a Joel Embiid. I think is a super talented player, questionable leader. Luka, I think is the same way. But Shai, again, when's the last time you heard anything bad about Shai as a player or as a person? The only thing people can say is his game's kind of boring. Well, too bad, because boring doesn't count in the score. It doesn't. Again, like, what were the Clippers thinking trading this guy, dude? How do you trade somebody that good? It just doesn't make sense. Like, you have to seriously think. And I think GMs make the most mistakes because a lot of them in sports are kind of like the owner's friend or something like that, or child or something. Maybe even a former player. A lot of them, to me, are just unqualified to really like manage a business like that. Like, you trade your, when they describe, they're just, it doesn't make sense, bro. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I remember, I promise you, when it first happened, I was so confused that they made that trade. I was like, why would you trade a player that you think that highly of? It just doesn't make sense. Like, literally, it's like trading Kobe. Like, that's the only thing I could compare it to. It would be like trading Kobe, or like trading like a young Jokic, or like trading like, I'm not gonna compare him to Jordan, but it would be like trading like, I'd almost compare him to LeBron. It would almost be like trading LeBron, like young, like prime LeBron. Like, what are you thinking? That's it for this video, though. In my next video, I'm going to show Luka playing defense.